Okay, you know that feeling, right? When you're stuck in traffic and you're just like, man, I wish this thing would drive itself. I could be reading a book right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, today we're diving headfirst into the world of self-driving cars to see if that dream of hands-free commuting is actually, attainable.
Right.
And we're going deep with this stack of articles you sent over. Lots to unpack here.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? There's this whole revolution narrative around autonomous vehicles. Like it's going to be this sudden shift, boom, all driverless all the time.
Right, like flip it a switch.
Hmm.
But I'm
Yeah.
guessing it's a bit more complicated than that.
You guessed it. It's not just does it drive itself or not. The articles you've got here, they really highlight these SAE levels, and that's key to understanding the nuances.
SAE levels.
Okay.
Break that down for me.
Imagine you're, say, looking for senior care, right? You wouldn't confuse a retirement community with a hospital. Different levels of support, yeah.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
The SAE levels, they're like that. 0 to 5. 0 being no automation, 5 being like, the car's writing poetry while it chauffeurs you around. We don't need
Right.
to memorize all 6, but
But just knowing the category helps. Like, okay, this is assisted living for my car, not the full-on medical ward.
exactly. And what's wild is a lot of cars on the road today, they're already level 2. Your Ford Blue Cruise, Tesla Autopilot,
Level 2 being.
think co-pilot, not autopilot, right?
Mhm.
Can steer, adjust speed, even some lane changing if you okay it. But you're still the boss. Eyes on the road.
So that whole autopilot, full self-driving, kind of misleading then, huh?
That tension between marketing and where the tech actually is, that's a theme in a few of these articles, yeah. But things get really interesting at level 3, ethically speaking.
Oh, how so?
Level 3, under the right conditions, the car's really driving. You might still need to jump in, but theoretically, your attention could be elsewhere. Mercedes, they're already selling level 3. It's called Drive Pilot.
Wait, really? So I could be, like, answering emails on the highway?
Theoretically, yeah.
Yeah.
Big but coming, it only works on very specific roads, good weather, under 40 miles an hour. And get this, Mercedes needs those roads mapped to the centimeter.
Centimeter level mapping, that's dot intense.
Shows you how limited even level 3 is. Then there's level 4, that's where Waymo's doing its robotaxi thing, but again, very limited areas.
So no safety driver at all with Waymo.
That's the whole idea. And in their tiny little bubbles of operation, they're pulling it off.
Okay, so we've got these different levels, but it makes you wonder, how do these cars even see the road? They don't exactly have eyeballs, right?
This is where it gets really cool because we're talking sensors and lots of them. Cameras, radar, and this thing called LiDAR. They give these cars almost like superhuman perception.
LiDAR, yeah, I've heard that before. It's like radar, but with light waves instead of sound.
You got it. LiDAR uses pulses of light to measure distances, so the car builds this crazy detailed 3D map of everything around it in real time. And we're talking crazy accuracy.
Wow, okay.
But, and this is a big but, this is where you get that debate, Tesla going vision only, and companies like Waymo sticking with LiDAR. It's a big deal in the industry.
Right, the battle of the sensors. It's fascinating how Tesla's like, nope, cameras are all we need.
Yep, 8 cameras is their thing. And Elon's whole argument is basically, hey, humans drive with their eyes, right? Cars should be able to too, and even better.
Bold strategy for sure.
Yeah.
But then you have Waymo, all in on LiDAR.
And they've got their reasons. Think about tough conditions, fog, snow, that blinding sunrise. Waymo says LiDAR just cuts through that better, more reliable than cameras alone.
Huh. So it's like different approaches, no clear winner yet.
Exactly.
Okay.
It makes you think, do these cars even need to see like we do, or can they use totally different tech and be even better drivers?
It's like, what even is intelligence, you know?
Yeah.
If a robot can drive better, but in a totally alien way. But here's the thing. If we've got this tech, this perception,
Right.
why am I still stuck in rush hour with everyone else?
$1 million question, right? Because as cool as it all sounds, there are some major roadblocks on the way to this driverless future, both literally and figuratively, you could say.
Okay, let's talk roadblocks.
Okay.
What's stopping us from ditching the steering wheel for good?
Well, for one, technical challenges. And I'm not talking little bugs. Imagine a sudden snowstorm, an unexpected detour, or even just how does a car read a cop's hand signals? Humans do it, but for AI. Tough stuff.
Yeah, I can see a robot car getting totally flummoxed by a construction detour.
Yeah.
Or like a flock of geese in the road.
Exactly. And that kind of unexpected stuff, it exposes this thing called the disengagement problem.
Disengagement, huh?
Basically, when the self-driving system's like, whoa, I did not sign up for this,
Right.
and it has to hand control back to the human.
So not always a failure, but more like the car recognizing, okay, humans got a better shot here.
Exactly. And the data backs this up. California makes companies report these disengagements. Even the best systems still need us sometimes. In fact, some of those reports, a disengagement prevented an accident.
Wow. Okay, so technical hiccups, unpredictable world, this need for human backup. What else stands in the way?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting because now we're talking ethics. Like straight out of philosophy class. Ever heard of the trolley problem?
Okay, I'll admit, my philosophy is a little rusty.
Yeah.
What's the trolley problem, and what's it got to do with cars?
So imagine this. Self-driving car going down the road, and suddenly it's going to hit something. No way around it. But it has a choice. Swerve to avoid a pedestrian, but that means hitting a wall, maybe hurting the passenger. Or stay on course, pedestrian's in trouble, but the passenger's probably fine. What's the car do?
Man, that's heavy stuff. Like a lose-lose situation, and the car's got to decide.
Right. And it's not just some theoretical thing. One of the articles that mentioned this group, Thatcham, they're researching if these AI systems can even handle that kind of moral gray area.
Yeah, we make those snap judgments as drivers, but we don't even think about it, programming that into a machine. Whole different ballgame.
Huge challenge. And to be honest, there isn't a right answer, right? Which
Yeah.
kind of feeds into this bigger thing, public perception.
Right, because if you can't even tell the car what the right answer is, how do people even feel about this tech, all this self-driving stuff? Seems like it's mixed from what I've read.
Yeah, totally. People are worried about safety. Makes sense, right? Cybersecurity, what if it gets hacked? Some even worry about governments using it for, like, surveillance, stuff like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
And honestly, some of it's valid. We've seen the stories, like that Ford Blue Cruise thing recently.
Oh yeah, that was wild.
Exactly. It's like, even with fancy driver assist, the human in the loop still got to be paying attention. We're messy variables.
We are. And then, on top of all that, there's the whole economic side. Like, these articles, they paint a picture of trucking, taxis, delivery, all getting reshaped. That's a lot of jobs potentially affected.
It's a big one. Policymakers, industry, they're all trying to figure out what happens if automation really takes off. And it's
Yeah.
not just jobs lost, it's like the whole ripple effect, right? Families, communities.
Yeah, it's massive. Makes this one stat from your research really stand out, that McKinsey prediction, by 2035, only 17% of new cars will be level 3 or higher.
Yep, that's the one. And it just shows this whole overnight robot takeover thing ain't happening. Too complex, too many things to work out, gotta be gradual.
Which I guess leads to the question for everyone listening.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on all this? Are you, like, first in line for the robot chauffeur, or more like, I'll wait and see how it plays out?
Totally personal choice, right? Some folks hesitant to hand over control, I get it. Others are all about the convenience, what it could mean. Imagine your commutes for reading or catching up with friends.
Right, working from the road, all that.
Or for some, it's accessibility. Self-driving could be huge for folks who can't drive themselves. So the possibilities are exciting, but it's also totally fine to be cautious to say, hey, prove it safe, figure out the ethics, then I'm in.
Absolutely. And with any tech this big, there will be bumps, right?
Yeah.
But one thing's for sure, self-driving is not sci-fi anymore. It's real, and it's going to have a huge impact no matter how it unfolds.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's not just the tech. It's the choices we make, the rules we set, the conversations we have that'll shape all this.
Well said. And on that note, huge thanks to you, dear listener, for sticking with us on this deep dive. Hope you found it as fascinating as we did.